Hello and welcome to Biology 101. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this course. Biology 101 is a survey course of the major topics of biology. This course is intended for non-biology majors, and it satisfies the requirement of a lab science working toward an associate's degree here at Cochise College. I would like to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Ken Charters. I have been a full-time instructor here at Cochise College for around 14 years or so. I teach general biology such as this, and also the sequence for majors, Biology 181, 182. If your intention is to major in biology, go to medical school, go to pharmacy school, or any other biological professional school, this course is not the course to take, but it is a course to check off that box for a degree requirement. I would like to just say a couple words about how the modules in the course are organized. You notice each module will be designated by a three-digit number, or three numbers, and they may be more than one digit each. So an example would be right here, 2.2.1. The first number designates the unit, and that is the exam. For example, this one with the 2 would occur in the second exam. The second number corresponds to the topic or lecture, if you will, and so that would be that number. And the third number refers to the module or the mini lecture, and this is in fact what is being talked about in each recording. So hopefully that helps you. I would like to instruct you that you should read your course documents, which will be posted in the first section of the timeline on Web Study. If you don't know what I'm talking about with regard to timeline and Web Study, you need to find out fairly quickly. I can help you with that directly. Our first lab occurs on Wednesday, and any students that are having difficulty, I can help at that time. But there are two course documents there that are very important. One is the course procedures, which I'm not going to go over with you here. We might talk about it a little bit in the face-to-face lab portion of the course, and also the course schedule or the syllabus. Those are critical documents for you to read and understand. I am going to be using in these lectures precisely the same slides as I use for the face-to-face courses of Biology 101. So there will be a couple of discrepancies, things that work for the face-to-face section but not for the hybrid section, and I will call these to your attention as they come up. Each topic, or what I sometimes call lecture, a topic actually can consist of only a single lecture, but it may also consist of more than one lecture. So using the term topic or lecture interchangeably is kind of misleading. And that's really more for the face-to-face class. In the hybrid class, where you're listening to these lectures online, the unit that you'll be concerned with is not lectures, but the little mini lectures or the modules. You click on each one of those. And so this is the introductory module there for you. I guess we can jump in and start talking about some of the material from the course. And to do this, I want to first address to you the question, why should you, as a non-biologist, study biology? This is an important question since you're going to spend 16 weeks of your life doing just that. Now, in addition to the practical application of checking off a requirement for your degree, I think there are other very important reasons why non-biologists should study biology. I want you to think about it for a minute. All your other classes here at Cochise College, they all are about one species, Homo sapiens sapiens. This is a species to which modern humans belong. But in point of fact, there are millions of other species that occupy the planet Earth with us, and yet when a person is educated, they spend virtually all their time just studying one of these millions of species. That hardly makes sense if you are in fact to be educated, or to be educated in fact and not in name only. On the screen now is a quotation from Thomas Henry Huxley. Thomas Huxley. He's sometimes called Darwin's bulldog. He was a contemporary of Charles Darwin, of course, a famous biologist who came up with the concept of evolution. Huxley earned the name of Darwin's bulldog by defending Darwin's ideas in public. Charles Darwin was in fact very shy, and Huxley was outgoing and a very able debater, and he often stood up for Charles Darwin. But in this quote, Huxley is addressing kind of what we're talking about. He says, and I quote, "The question of questions for mankind, the problem which underlies all others and is more deeply interesting than any other, is the ascertainment of the place which man occupies in nature and his relations to the universe of things," end quote. And of course what Huxley is getting at here is the same thing I'm trying to get at. And he's saying that to really understand humans, we have to understand where they fit in, that is in relation to the universe of things. And so by understanding other species better, we'll come to appreciate better what it means to be fully human. And this is one of our goals in this course. Having said that, the course studies biology, and so a logical place to begin is with the definition of that term. Biology may be defined as the science of life, as you see in this heading, but to really understand this, we should perhaps look at the origin of the word biology. Now, sometimes biology is accused of being like a foreign language, and indeed we have many terms. We'll come back to this point in a bit, but here let's look at the origin of the word biology. The word root bios means life, and the word root logos means word, dialogue, or science. And it can be taken to mean many things. Sometimes it's taken to mean study of. I prefer scientific study of life, or simply as a science of life. So the science of life is how we define biology, and this definition will serve as our lecture outline for the first week of classes here. So today, at least in the face-to-face class, we would examine life. However, if you're listening to this lecture in an online module, we're going to talk first about science, and we will address life in our first lecture, which will occur on Wednesday. I do want to talk, however, a bit more about word roots. This is a very useful approach. The root bios, which was in biology, appears in many other words as well as biology. And one of them is biochemistry, the chemistry of life. Bioluminescence. And if you think about this, luminescence means light, and bioluminescence is light produced by living things. There are bioluminescent insects. Maybe you've heard of fireflies, which are in fact not flies at all, but beetles. Or there are bioluminescent fungi, bioluminescent algae. There's some tropical beaches where you can walk on the beach and you leave glowing footprints. Or there are waters in the oceans of the world where as your ship cuts through, the disturbance of the ship causes the algae to be bioluminescent, leaving a glowing wake. Another place where the word root bios appears is in antibiotic. Anti means against, and so antibiotic is something which works against life. And of course, antibiotics are important chemicals that we use to fight microbes, bacteria in particular, that can cause disease. Another example of the usage of the word root bios appears in the word symbiosis. Sim means together, bio means life. This is life in close proximity, as, for example, a parasite that might live in your intestine is in a symbiotic relation with you, a symbiotic relationship with you. So often the meaning of biological terms may be deduced from known roots. So if you know word roots, then you're far ahead of the game. It may be easier to learn the roots than to memorize the terms, kind of like learning the alphabet instead of memorizing all the words in the dictionary. And so this is a kind of a reductionistic approach where we look at the components of biological terms, the word roots, to understand what they mean. And this will serve you well in many disciplines besides biology. If you know word roots, you can deduce the meaning of unknown words, and this is very valuable. For example, if you have to take a standardized exam, say you want to go to I don't know, business school or something like that. You might have to take a management aptitude test, the standardized exam, and there's almost always a vocabulary portion to such exams, and if you know word roots, you'll be able to perform at a higher level than if you don't. And so because of this, and because of the utility of word roots in the class in which you're now enrolled, Biology 101, I strongly advocate that you cultivate this approach. And so I have recommended, and it should be present in the bookstore, a book called The Dictionary of Word Roots and Combining Forms by D.J. Bohr. This is a little dictionary which will help you greatly in your endeavors to learn biological terms and to build a stronger vocabulary. Here, in fact, is what the cover of the book looks like. The cost is something like $10 or $12, something about the same price as a pizza. The book will make you educated, but the pizza will make you round. And I suggest education over being round, since most of us will become rounder with age anyway. So do invest in this book. There are other dictionaries online that use an etymological approach. As we'll learn in a moment, the definition of etymology is the study of word origins and word roots. But this one is especially useful. It says, compiled from the Greek, Latin, and other languages with special reference to biological terms and scientific names. So this is a very useful book indeed. You can find other etymological dictionaries online, but they're not as good or as easy to use as D.J. Bohr's. He studied insects at Ohio State University. So let us try a few of these. If we know that mycos equals fungi, then what is mycology? Remember, you've already learned that logos means scientific study of, so mycology is the scientific study of fungi. A second root is zone or zoon, and this is used in the word zoology. The proper pronunciation is zoology, not zoology. But zoology, if we know that zone is animal, then we know that zoology is, in fact, the scientific study of animals. Here's a couple of more roots. Chromo is color, soma is body. Chromosome is what? Well, there's not always, you could say colored body, but that's not always an exact translation. In this case, of course, a chromosome is a body that's seen inside the nucleus of cells when the cell is dividing, and it contains the DNA or the genetic information. It's called a colored body because it has an affinity or an attraction for stains, which are used to create greater contrast in light slides for light microscopes. So again, I just wanted to throw one in that wasn't just so clear-cut, because everything is not so clear-cut. You'll see that when you try to use the Dictionary of Word Roots and Combining Forms. Here's another. Di is two, morph is form. Dimorphic means two forms. For example, humans are a sexually dimorphic species. We can tell by looking the difference between a male and a female. And that's not true of all species. So here is a definition which you should definitely commit to memory. This is etymology, which is a study of word origins, including word roots and combining forms. So the study of word origins, including word roots and combining forms. And so that's a critical definition, the second term I've given you today, or in this little lecture, for you to remember. The next slide actually addresses, I put this up on the first lab, and so this is about our lab report questions. So having said that, we're going to stop right there with our first module. It's really what I call the introduction, and we'll talk to you again in a future module.